Hello and welcome back to the dotCMS Content Contributor course. In this lesson, we're going to talk about dotCMS workflows. Now, to talk about workflows, let's first go ahead and log in to a local instance of dotCMS, or you could go to demo.dotcms.com and do a /admin at the end of the domain. And whenever you log in with admin at dotcms.com and admin as your password, then you will be delivered to the workflow backend portlet. So here it shows you all of the jobs that you have been assigned as a user. Now the admin user has not been assigned any jobs to create content or modify pages or anything like that. But we do have a workflow set up for a specific content type, much like a webmaster might do for you, and we're going to use the admin's ability to log in as a limited content contributor to see that workflow process. So what we're going to do is come over here to this little login as tool here, and then we're going to log in as Joe Contributor. And Joe Contributor has a very limited perspective here. He can only see one particular folder on the demo.dotcms.com website, and he can really only create a few content types, one of which is called document, and it has a specific and very restrictive workflow scheme that is associated with it that we are going to show you from the content contributor's perspective. If he adds a new piece of content, Joe, we can see that there are some customized buttons here, and that's what sometimes a webmaster is going to do, is going to set up customized buttons that actually allow you to pass content to another group maybe of reviewers, that then they can then take the content and translate the content or edit the content in some way and then pass it on maybe to someone else to publish live on the site, or maybe push publish to another environment. We're going to have Joe create this document. We'll just go ahead and choose a file asset. I'll just go ahead and choose some image here on my local desktop. Okay, so here's an astronomy image, and here is and we will go ahead and save for draft. But first, let's go ahead and set a host or folder field. Joe only is able to save to the resources directory, so let's go ahead and save to that directory. Okay, so we've added this, we've saved it. Joe can edit it, and he can lock it for editing, and he can save his draft, send for review again. But watch what happens in this custom workflow. Whenever he sends for review, then he must assign it to the reviewer role. And Joe has a very limited set of permissions here. He cannot choose a specific person who has that role. He can only assign it in bulk. And that's because the workflow scheme that is custom and assigned to this content type has determined that. So really it's up to the webmaster to determine how your custom workflow is going to work. They pretty much can do whatever they want. In dotCMS, it's set up to flow as restrictively or as openly as the webmaster decides for any custom piece of content. So here I'll just say, please review and publish. Okay. So he saves it with the send for review option. Okay, so now it's saved that image. Now if we open it back up again, you'll notice that this particular user has lost all ability to edit, modify. It's out of his workflow step, and we can see it right here in step review, and the assignee is a reviewer, and Joe has no permissions over this level at all. Someone with the reviewer role would have to assign it back to Joe for him to have any control over this content, because that's the way it was set up. So let's go ahead and log out as Joe, and then we'll log in using, once again, our administrator's login as tool. We'll log in as Jane Reviewer, who does have that reviewer role, and then the second that we log in, if we look at her workflow tasks, then we will see that workflow task right here. That image has been assigned to her. If she opens it up from the workflow task itself, then she gets a preview into the image, all of the properties, even the metadata of the image that was uploaded, and can see that Joe Contributor assigned it. He assigned it to reviewer. Here is his message. It's in draft mode status right now. This is when the time and date it was created, and this is his comment, and she can add a comment and then send it back to him. And here are her options on this piece of content according to the custom workflow. These buttons are custom and they were defined by the webmaster, and they can say anything and have literally, dozens and dozens of different types of actions that take place whenever these custom buttons are hit. So she can edit the content, she can return it back to Joe Contributor for editing, or send it on to the legal department. So if she hits on edit content, you'll see those same buttons that were available from the workflow itself are available inside the content. So let's go ahead and have her send this to the legal team. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save that. And now that's moving on to the legal approval role. Okay, so now that has been assigned to legal approval, and then we will notice if we look here at the workflow, or if we come back to the content search manager and we look here, then she has lost the ability to go ahead and do much to that content. She can lock it for editing, but really there's not much that she can do to the content, and she could return it for edits back to Joe Contributor, but that's really about it. It's in the legal approval step, and so really we need to log in as a legal approver. So let's go ahead and log out as Jane, and let's go ahead and log back in as Chris Publisher. And he has that final role. So whenever he logs in, once again, if we went to his workflow portlet, he would see this job. He would have gotten an email about it. But then here, if we look, it's in step legal approval, and he's got different actions that he can take on the content using this content type. So he can lock it for editing, return it back for edits to either the reviewer or the content contributor, and he can also publish it, which none of the other users can. So he publishes the content, it now is finally published and ready to be placed on a site. And if we had push publishing configured, he would also be able to even push publish via the workflow. If we open it back up, it's in step published. Now at the publish step, there's different options available at this step. You return it for edits, republish, archive the content, and that means take it down off of the live website, or even tweet about it. So what happens if we actually click the tweet? It actually brings up a 140 character count, and then we can start typing something, a tweet about this article, right? And that is a customized action that is installed once again on this custom workflow. So there's many different things that can happen. We can push a piece of a contact over to Salesforce, or integrate with some other system via all these workflow actions. This will all be determined by your webmaster, and they will assign these custom buttons to you and give you some training about how to use them. But that is workflows. Whenever you are assigned something through your workflow, you will get an email. The email will have a link to your workflow, and you once again will land on the tasks section of your little home tab over here by default, and it will list all of the jobs that have been assigned to you. And if you do need to do sorting here of these tasks, you could take a look at something in a specific step. You could look at a specific scheme, document management, and we could look at what's published. We could look at open tasks, resolved tasks. Here we've got this this task that's already published, the shrinking white dwarf. We can take a specific workflow step action on one or more pieces of content by simply clicking on them and then republishing or archiving, or anything that we can do at this particular level. And there's some other filtering tools. We can just look simply by keyword and click search and find only one piece of content. We look at tasks that are older than a certain amount of days. We can look for tasks within different that are in review, that are in legal approval, any of those different steps. And of course we could reset those filters as well. So that is filtering for your workflows and stepping into the workflows. I hope that was helpful on showing you how webmasters may set up custom content contribution using workflows for you. Hope it was helpful, and we'll see you in the next content contributor course lesson.